Welcome to a meeting of your Manatee County Board of County Commissioners. Representing District 1, Carol Ann Feltz. Representing District 2, Amanda Ballard. Representing District 3, Tal Sadiq. Representing District 4, Mike Ron. Representing District 5, Dr. Bob McCann. Representing District 6 at-large, Jason Bearden. Representing District 7 at-large, George Cruz. The County Administrator is Charlie Bishop. Time is set aside at the beginning of each meeting for citizens to speak on any issue. Citizens are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes. Today's meeting is brought to you with closed captioning.
Good morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, September 4th, and this is a land use meeting of the Board of County Commissioners, Manatee County. We will get started, as we always do, with an invocation and the pledge. The invocation today will be led by Pastor Brent Spears from First Baptist Church of Palmetto, and our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Commissioner Jason Bearden. Please rise if you are able.
Hey, well, good morning. Thank you again for the opportunity to be with you all. Let's pray together. Father, thank you so much for this morning. I thank you for just this group of men and women. I thank you for the laughter that was taking place beforehand, that we can find joy in work and with one another. And Lord, we recognize that government ultimately is anointed and appointed by you and overseen by your sovereign care. And so I thank you for these men and women that serve, that answer that call, and I pray for their protection. Mentally, physically, and spiritually, Lord, and emotionally, Lord. I also thank you for just discernment, that you help them as they continue to work through the process of listening, making decisions. And Father, I just pray that you'd give just your direction and guidance in that. And so, Father, thank you for an opportunity and a group of men and women that seek to honor you. And we want to lift this time up to you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Denise, are there any updates to the agenda?
Yes, there's one additional public comment, and it's been submitted to you all. You should have it
Okay.
in your packets.
Thank you. And there's no consent. I will open this up for public comment for future agenda items. Is there anybody in the public who wants to speak on a future agenda item? Seeing none, and there is nobody on the phone, I will close public comment for future agenda item. And we will go straight to our hearings. They're pretty much all quasi until we get to the end, so I'm just going to have everyone get sworn in now.
Please stand and raise your right hand if you plan on speaking before the board. Do you swear or affirm that the factual statements and representations you're about to make to the Board of County Commissioners are truthful and accurate? Thank you. When you step to the podium, please state your name, county of residence, and if you've been sworn.
Thank you. And so now we're going to public hearings. Sarah, question. The first two have just been flat out withdrawn. Is there any motion necessary on a withdrawn application?
No motions necessary on 1 and 2.
Do we need to read them into the record, or we just skip those all?
I would skip those.
Okay, perfect. Moving on to item number 3. Denise?
Item number 3, PDR 2337ZP, State Road 70 Multifamily Bradenton Project LLC. It is in District 2, and the applicant is requesting a continuance to no date set and to be re-advertised. It's a rezone of approximately 6.47 acres containing 3 parcels from residential single-family 4.5 to planned development residential zoning district. It's generally located on the south side of 53rd Avenue East and approximately a half a mile west of US 301 and approximately 0.48 miles east of 15th Street East, extending south approximately 0.2 miles on the north side of 55th Avenue East, and commonly known as 2008, 2010, and 2012 53rd Avenue East, and it's approving a preliminary site plan for a proposed development of 116 multifamily residential units with at least 25% of the multifamily units designated as affordable housing and subject to a proposed LURA and the proposed development of 2 standalone single-family residential parcels.
That was a very long description for continuance, but thank you. I appreciate the backstory on that one. All right, well, this is a request for continuance. I have nobody on the board. We don't need to do a presentation on request for continuance. I'll open this up to public comment. Seeing no one, and there's no hands raised on, well, it's quasi, so you can't be on the phone anyway. I will close public comment, and I will entertain motions for continuance. I have a motion by Commissioner Bearden,
Second.
second by Commissioner Ron for continuance of item number 3. You can cast your votes now. And that is approved 5-0 with Commissioners Ballard and Siddiq absent. Moving on to item number 4, it's presentation scheduled, also a continuance. Denise?
Item number 4, PDR 2403ZP, Erie Road Residential. It's in District 1, and it is an application for continuance to October 9th, 2025. It's a rezone of approximately 5 acres, and it is at 8915 Erie Road Parish, and it's from general agricultural to planned development residential zoning district, and approving a preliminary site plan for up to 7 single-family detached residential units.
Okay. Also a request for continuance. It's a presentation scheduled, but it's a continuance. I'll open this up to public comment. Seeing none, I will close public comment. I will entertain motions for continuance. A motion has been made by Commissioner Feltz silently, seconded by Commissioner Ron, also silently. You can cast your votes now. What were you trying to press? Okay, it is approved 5-0 with Commissioners Ballard and Siddiq absent. Item number 5.
Item number 5, PDMU 1422, PR4, Travesta. It is in District 1, and the applicant requests continuance to October 9th, 2025. It's amending a zoning ordinance, PDMU 1422, PR2, and approving a revised preliminary site plan to increase from 100,000 to 150,000 square feet of commercial use and creating commercial parcel E, and revising stipulations for a project of approximately 441.3 acres that is currently zoned PDMU and generally located east of I-75 and south of 69th Street, East Palmetto.
All right. This one is also a request for continuance. I do have someone on to speak. I'll open up public comment. Your comments are related to the continuance, not the project itself, but I have a Catherine Kostreva. Is Catherine here? Nope. Okay. Then I will close public comment. There's nobody on the board. I have a motion to approve continuance by Commissioner Feltz, second by Commissioner McCann. You can cast your votes now. Commissioner Feltz, did you intend to abstain?
Nope, I'm good. It's a yes.
All right, that is 5-0 with Commissioners Ballard and Siddiq absent. And before I move on to this next one, just because I keep forgetting, because these are technically all quasi, has there been any ex parte communication on any of these? 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? No, sir. By anybody? No? Sorry, I forgot. Okay, item number 6.
Item number 6, PDC 2417ZG, State Road 64, Uline Road Commercial. and it is in District 1, and the applicant requests a continuance to October 9th, 2025. It's a rezone of approximately 15.3 acres of a 37.3 acre parcel generally located on the north side of State Road 64 at the intersection of Uline Road, and it's from general agricultural to planned development commercial zoning district. It's approving a general development plan for a maximum of 195,000 square feet of commercial uses, distributed in 3 commercial areas identified in the general development plan as Project Area 1, 2, and 3, and approving a schedule of permitted and prohibited uses as voluntarily proffered by the applicant, and it was attached as Exhibit B.
Thank you. This is a request for continuance. There's nobody on the board. I will open this up to public comment. Seeing none, I will close public comment. I have a motion to approve continuance by Commissioner Feltz, second by Commissioner McCann. You can cast your votes now. There's no abstaining. It's still. We'll go with 5-0 with Commissioners Ballard and Siddiq absent. I'm assuming since you made the motion, you were a yes. Okay. All right, 5-0. Moving on to item number 7, an actual item. Go ahead.
Item number 7, Z2412, Contrarino rezone. It is quasi judicial. We have CJ Mills here for staff. It's in District 1. It's a rezone of approximately 1.66 acres from A1 to residential single family 3 zoning district located 0.35 miles east of 16th Avenue East, which is also known as Canal Road, and approximately 540 feet west of 24th Avenue East on the north side of 37th Street East, and commonly known as 2214 37th Street East, Palmetto.
Has there been any ex parte communication on this one? No. All right. Is there an applicant here for this one? Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Bob Schmidt with Land Planning Associates, and I am a Manatee County resident. I'll give you a very brief presentation. This is to change the zoning of this parcel here from A1 to RSF3. And the purpose of the rezone is twofold. Number one, it's in a family, and they want upon the split, they intend to deed the second parcel to their daughter. But secondly, the confusing part about the lot in its current configuration is that there's a ditch that runs through the middle of it. And that makes it difficult to split without rezoning, and they also have 1.66 acres, not 2 acres. If it were 2 acres, they'd be able to split it without seeking the rezone. They contacted me several years ago about doing this rezone and didn't get around to it until about a little less than a year ago. But that's the application in a nutshell, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions to the applicant on this one? All right. Is there a presentation from staff?
Morning, my name is CJ Mills with staff. I've been sworn. Real brief presentation, I'm guessing, on this one.
It's your call.
All right, this is the Contarino rezone. As Bob said, is 1.66 acres. They are looking to go from A1 to RSF3. It's been in the residential Res 3 future land use category in A1 since the establishment of our comprehensive plan and the 1990 LDC. See some of the range of potential uses here in the future land use. These are just some of the purposes of the zoning districts. This isn't really agricultural use anymore. It's residential, so the RSF3 would be appropriate. You can see here the bulk and dimensional standards are basically the same. You're going to get a maximum of 4 dwelling units out of this rezone. He is talking about a lot split, but ultimately they could get up to 4. There's not any public utilities. There's a school less than a mile away, Tillman Elementary. It's not in or near a flood zone. The the transportation link capacity analysis, it is operating at a C, and its adopted level of service is a D. And some of the positive aspects is that any use that could be found incompatible with adjacent residential properties are not permitted in the proposed zoning district, and the proposed rezone is a low trip generator. One of the negative aspects is the lack of existing sidewalks and bicycle lanes may create safety concerns for pedestrian and bicyclists, and that mitigating measure is the subject property's distance from commercial, retail, and other non-residential uses will limit the amount of pedestrian and bicycle traffic on Mendoza Road. And in conclusion, the request can be found to be consistent with the policies of the comprehensive plan and the applicable review standards of the Land Development Code. And I'll be here if y'all have any questions.
Any questions for staff? Anything for CJ?
All
Nope.
right, thank you.
All right. I'll open this up to public comment. Is there any public comment on this? Seeing none, I will close public comment. Anyone have any questions for anybody? If not, Bob, you got anything left? CJ? No? Any deliberation whatsoever? Then I will entertain motions. I have a motion by Commissioner Bearden, seconded by somebody over here, by Commissioner Ron. Cast your votes now. That is approved 5-0 with Commissioners Ballard and Sadiq absent. Yep. Commissioner McCann would like to change that to an abstain. No, I'm kidding. All right, number 8.
Number 8, PDC 2434P, Chipotle Mexican Grill. We do have CJ here again for staff. It's in District 2. It's approving a preliminary site plan for a 2,325 square foot restaurant with a drive-through on approximately 0.81 acres. The site is currently zoned PDC. And it is located on the south side of 33rd Street East and 53rd Avenue East, and commonly known as 5320 33rd Street East, Bradenton.
Okay, and I apologize. The last one was presentation. This is worded weird. Presentations upon scheduled. It's supposed to be presentations upon request on this thing right here. So the next one's scheduled. So these are upon request. Does anyone want a presentation? First off, is there any ex parte on this? And everyone hates the gas station we tried to literally buy to knock down. You want a presentation on this? Okay. We need a presentation. Item number 8. I know, you had 9:30 on the block.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Start with the menu.
Linda Stewart, planner with Morris Engineering. I have been sworn. This is for Chipotle Mexican Grill. It's located at 5230 33rd Street East in Bradenton, at the corner of State Road 70 and 33rd Street East. Current zoning is PDC. We are not asking for a zoning change on this. It is consistent with the adjacent zonings. Future land use is ROR. We are not asking for a future land use change on this, and it is consistent with the existing future land uses around it. The history of the property, it was initially constructed as a commercial use in 1990, and it was most recently a mobile gas station. It's been vacant since 2018. The existing structures will be raised for the new facility to be constructed. The previous PSP expired, necessitating a new application for the property. We're asking for a preliminary site plan approval for the redevelopment of the abandoned property for a commercial retail with 2,235 square feet of restaurant with a drive-through facility. This is a pickup only. It's the new drive-throughs where they don't have a menu board that you order on site, you order online and you just drive through and pick it up.
Really?
You can order inside, but you can't order at a menu board, so that is nicer for the neighbors too, so that they don't see and hear a menu board. We did ask for one design exception that was approved for the driveway spacing for its current location on State Road 70. It's 0.86 acres. The allowable FAR is 0.5. We're requesting a 0.066. The open space is required at 20%. We have almost double that at over 39%. This is an aerial view of the location of the piece of property. Here's a closer version of it at the southwest corner of State Road 70 and 33rd, showing the existing gas station. This is the site plan for the piece of property, also indicating that on State Road 70, they will be extending the turn lane. That is a right-in only off of State Road 70, and off of 33rd, it's a right-in, right-out only. This is a closer view of the site plan, and they do have an agreement with the property next door for an interconnection. You can see that the drive-through for the pickup only on the south side of the building. This is typical elevations of Chipotle restaurants. Development trends for the area. This is an infill development surrounded by commercial uses. It is west of the FDAB, and it is compatible with the surrounding area. Residential subdivisions in the area are numerous, which helps to have commercial facilities around the residential areas and limits the trips for people being out on the roads, having to travel for their commercial needs. They do have the required buffering along the roadways. The access, as I said, is State Road 70 is a right-in only. 33rd is a right-in, right-out. The existing cross-access easement with the property to the west is to remain. 5-foot sidewalks are existing on the adjacent roadways, and internal sidewalks will connect. No environmental report was required due to the existing conditions of the parcel. Utilities are existing along both roadways to serve this property. Stormwater will be dry retention. It is not in a flood zone. Traffic generation for this, as I said, they will be extending the right turn lane on State Road 70. We do have Kimley Horn here if you have any questions. And we believe that this is in compliance with the Land Development Code and the Comprehensive Plan, and we ask for your approval.
Thank you. I put myself on the board just to get ahead of deliberation. I am so thankful you're bringing this in front of us. We've been talking about this parcel of land forever, trying to get this thing fixed. I mean, this corner is just a nightmare for that neighborhood after that gas station closed. And seeing something like this come in here is the exact kind of infill we need. So I know I'm not supposed to be at deliberation next, but I didn't know we were going to do a full presentation. So I think this is great, and I just thank them for seeing a site like this and being able to work through some of the dynamics of a gas station and all the other aspects of it and the turn lanes in, to be able to provide something that the neighborhood's going to truly appreciate compared to something that just has homeless people sitting under it during rain. So I'm going to do my deliberation now. Thank you. Commissioner Feltz.
We said this was a former gas station there, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But no environmental concerns if there were underground gas tanks that were removed, or how was that?
Well, they'll deal with FDEP with any underground gas tanks. And
So
the-
at this
and their
time,
removal.
there's gas under the ground? I mean, there's tanks from the former gas station are still there?
If they have removed them, I'm not aware, but they will do all of that in requirements with FDEP prior to the construction of the restaurant.
Okay. We're aware that there was a gas station there.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Probably should be some sort of
Oh, absolutely.
environmental discussion on that.
Well, they will do phase ones
Okay.
for the property.
Gas on top, gas on the bottom, I guess it's the same. So.
Yeah, I just remind everyone that things cost money, and people don't like spending money until they have assurance that the money being spent is going to go towards something productive. So getting this process, which in and of itself is almost ridiculous that this is a thing that even has to come in front of this board, because it's not even a rezone, it's nothing. It's just like kind of pointing out, here's what we're doing. But Chipotle, they're not stupid people, and the people who approve it, they're not going to let them just build a Chipotle on top of gas tanks. So, but I wouldn't expect them to spend the money removing gas tanks and mitigating environmental concerns until they know they can put a restaurant on top of it. Anybody else? No? Staff? Got anything? You can just say no. Okay. I'll open this up to public comment. Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Any questions for the applicant or anything on CJ's thoughtful presentation. No? Okay. Any final comments?
No, sir.
Have any first comments? No? Okay, I will entertain motions. I have a motion by Commissioner Ron, seconded by Commissioner Feltz. You can cast your votes now. Oh, my lord. It is approved 5-0 with Commissioners Ballard and Siddiq absent.
Thank you.
Go build that Chipotle. I'll be the first one in line to buy a bowl just for thanking you for putting it there. Those are two entirely different restaurants. All right, moving on to presentations scheduled. Item number 9.
Item number 9, PDMU 2405P, The Point. We have Alicia Henry here for staff, and it's in District 5. It's approving a preliminary site plan for 36 multifamily dwelling units and 100,000 square feet of mini warehouse on approximately 9.09 acres located approximately 0.51 miles west of the intersection of State Road 70 East and 63rd Street East, and commonly known as 5529, 5605, and no number assigned, 53rd Avenue East, Bradenton. It's zone PDMU within the Coastal Overlay District.
Good. Any ex parte on this? Nope. Nope, all right. Is the applicant here?
Morning, Commissioners. John Cavoli, Cavoli Engineering. I have been sworn. Let's see. There we go. The project is known as The Point. I'm the civil engineer for the project. We have Kerry McNutt from Environmental. Traffic engineer is Alex. He is actually on the way, but I can answer questions with regard to that. And our developer here, Bert Looper from Palm One Development.
Just real quick, I don't mean to interrupt you.
Sure.
Is he on the way, like, within a
Within,
minute? Do you need him? If so, I can go to the next item. It's quick, it's not gonna be long, but it could buy you time. I mean, traffic may be a question on this section.
he is like 10
What?
minutes out.
Yeah, is he ironically stuck in traffic? Is he on State Road 70?
He's about 2 minutes out.
Oh, then you're fine, then go,
Okay.
then go.
We'll talk slow. The parcel is 9.0 acres. It's currently zoned PDMU, so we're not asking for a rezone. This is just a PSP to explain what's proposed for the site. The site is basically an infill parcel. It's undeveloped. You've got the DOT detention pond on that carved out corner that you can see on your screen. It's directly off of State Road. The site has existing utilities to serve the site already in place out in the State Road right-of-way. All utilities within the property will be privately owned and maintained. It'll need a grinder station that goes out to the force main on State Road 70, and water is stubbed to the site. Because it's adjacent to the river, there is floodplain, which will be mitigated. We have gone through with staff, and Kerry will explain further when she comes up. We're going to mitigate the floodplain within the wetland buffers all around the perimeter of the site, which is something that is a little bit creative and different. What it basically does is improve the wetlands on the site as well as increase the number of wetlands by providing that buffer around the site. On the existing conditions you can see in front of you, those are the perimeter areas and buffers that we're proposing for the project. Again, the project proposes 36 residential units for the mixed use and self-storage on the front of the site up where commercial traffic is. One of the ideas with the project was to maintain internal capture. Since you have apartments, everybody I know who has an apartment uses self-storage, so we try to keep the trips off the streets. I will let Kerry come up right now and explain the environmental conditions.
Good afternoon, Commissioner, or morning, Commissioner, sorry. Carrie McNutt with Monarch Ecology. I'm dealing with the environmental on the project, and I reside in Sarasota County for the record. As far as environmental, the overall project has 4.41 acres of wetlands and surface waters. The majority of the wetlands are on the north side of the site, as you can see, and of course along the shoreline. We also have 2 surface water features, which are man-made ponds that were dug historically. And those total 0.41 acres. And then the remainder of the site, 4.68 acres, is upland. And we did have also SwiftMud came out to the site in July of '23 to review the wetland lines, and those are approved wetland lines that you saw in that previous exhibit. This, again, is just kind of an overview of the PSP, the site plan, which shows the multifamily and the storage, as well as the infrastructure proposed with parking, access, stormwater, et cetera. As far as environmental, we are not impacting any wetlands. Those are going to be preserved in entirety and avoided. We are going to have some minor impacts to the man-made ponds, the surface waters, totaling roughly 0.32 acres. We are going to be maintaining 30-foot buffers, but one of the interesting things about this project that we are doing, given it's a small site and we had some constraints to work with to make the site plan work with floodplain compensation, et cetera, we are actually going to be taking the 30-foot buffers and scraping them down and essentially converting them to wetlands and replanting them, but they are also going to serve as floodplain compensation. And this is the green sort of area you see with the bubble around it. Those, again, are the areas, the 30-foot buffers that we are talking about that we're going to convert to floodplain compensation and that are also going to serve as wetlands post-development. So essentially, we're creating habitat on site. And this is on the left-hand side, you'll see just a typical cross-section of what that's going to look like in terms of you'll see a retaining wall and then, the side slopes scraping down, and it's going to basically connect directly to the wetlands. And then on the right-hand side, that's just a planting table with some wetland plants that we are proposing to be planted in that area. And this is just a photo to show you what the buffers look like in current condition. They were completely overgrown with Brazilian pepper, and what you're seeing here is the Brazilian pepper was removed and mulched. So there are a few trees left in that area, but for the most part, it was all Brazilian pepper that's been removed. So again, just reiterating that we will be creating habitat within that buffer area. And then I'm going to turn it back over to John Cavoli to talk about the stormwater.
We've already coordinated with County Stormwater Management Department, so we're going to be using the latest information in order to provide the treatment and attenuation required for the site. Like I discussed previously, master utilities, everything already exists in state road right-of-way to serve the project. We're not going to put any demand on the existing systems, especially since we have a very low usage. And Alex just got here, so the timing is perfect. I will turn it over to him right now. Alex, not to rush him, but...
Good morning. My name is Alex Anaya with ESRP Corporation, and I have not been sworn.
If there's anyone else who's coming who has not been sworn, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the factual statements and representations you're about to make to the Board of County Commissioners are truthful and accurate?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, good morning. We conducted a traffic impact analysis for this project, and the findings of our traffic study show that the project has an impact that is not significant. In addition to the initial traffic study, we also conducted a multimodal analysis because we propose to provide multimodal facilities, specifically bicycle parking facilities, in order to promote bicycle trips. which will help reduce the vehicle trips. With these bicycle parking facilities and the reduction achieved, the project was under the minimis threshold for PM peak hour trips, according to the county procedures. So with this, the staff was accepted what we did and concluded that the trip generation being lower than the minimum threshold make the impact on the roadway network negligible. So this is basically the conclusion of the analysis that we conducted for the project.
We had our neighborhood meetings. We didn't have any objections or concerns from any of the neighbors. There was the neighbor on the east side of the site, I don't know if I can bring the plan back up, who spoke at our planning commission hearing and expressed concern about development on the property. They're the Girl Scout facility. We are designing the site to meet all the standards for safety and floodplain comp. So we would respectfully ask your approval on this preliminary site plan. Thanks.
I do have some questions on the traffic. The level of service there is going to be an E, is that correct?
Yes.
And that's below.
That's correct.
And that's below the standard level of service?
Level of service on SR 70, yes.
Okay.
It is below the level of service, but this is not triggered by the project. The project has no significant impact. The level of service E is triggered by what we call background traffic, which is a combination of existing traffic plus future background traffic. Now, having said that, there is an important caveat. When the project was done, or when we did the analysis, the connection of 44th Avenue East, that overpass over the interstate, was not completed yet, was not operational. So the traffic counts that we did for the project did not reflect that. A few years ago, the county staff asked us to conduct a study to forecast the impact of the 44th Avenue extension on SR 70 and SR 64. We found back then that there will be a very significant reduction on both SR 70 and SR 64 as a result of that. I remember it's something around 25%. This is very significant, and it's something that we couldn't include with the data collection that we did at the time. This extension is also going to impact the vested traffic from other trips, other analyses that were conducted a few years ago that didn't take into account that. So I know the county staff is currently working on updating the link sheets to reflect those changes. A similar situation happened when, for instance, when we had Fort Hammer, the Fort Hammer Bridge. That was observed, and I know the county staff, they are working on updating the link sheets to shift those trips because that's something that has happened. Actually, not only in Fort Hammer, there are other areas in the north, other roads. It escaped my memory right now, the names of the roads, but there are several examples of these within the county.
What about the additional challenges due to the physical restrictions with the bridge on the Braden River?
Excuse me?
Did you have a copy of this from the
Not with
planners
me
here?
right now, no.
Okay. It says here, although the applicant has provided appropriate traffic-related information to substantiate the findings, it is not feasible to address the comprehensive plan requirements in terms of link capacity with 6-lane transportation facility. Besides, this project offers additional challenges due to physical restrictions with the bridge on the Braden River. It will require extensive access analysis with functional improvements and close coordination with FDOT at the time of the final site plan. So right now, they're saying, in this chart right here, Table 4, which is on page 8, it's saying that your access and the traffic is at an E. It was at a D before, in
Yeah,
Chart 3. Okay, now it's at an E, so it does impact. And, you know,
Oh,
it
no.
creates a traffic nightmare.
No,
It
the
says,
project, the project does not trigger that. I mean, the analysis may show, but it's because of the future background traffic. The project traffic is minimal and doesn't cause any impact. It doesn't trigger any improvement.
but we do agree that, you know, the level of service is E, which is below the standard of service.
The forecasted level of service. However, they are talking, when they are talking about the bridge and is if you are gonna expand, meaning adding more lanes to SR-70, then there is a bridge and all this. This is what they are talking about. Now, what I'm telling you right now is, first of all, the project doesn't have any impacts, doesn't trigger any impacts, but also there will be a significant reduction in traffic on SR-70 because of the 44th Avenue East connection that was recently opened. And that is a reality. That will also reduce the vested trips that are there in the link sheets, trips that are vested for all other projects that were analyzed before. So the staff is working on those changes, which are going to have a significant impact on the traffic on SR-70.
Okay, I'll wait for the staff presentation to talk about anything else, other than the fact that, you know, I'd like the other gentleman to come up.
Yes.
Tell me about the floodplain on this area.
Okay, so, here, let me get back to a plan. Wow. So when we originally came to Stormwater Management Department at the county, where's the aerial? Well, that'll do. This section of the river is on the north side of State Road 70. Both county models that they have in the area terminate right at the river. So they don't include this. Yet they turned around and they said, okay, fine, we're going to have to classify this as non-tidal, which was questionable. We went back and forth on that argument. So we agreed, okay, it'll be, we'll consider it non-tidal, which means we provide attenuation and treatment, not 150% treatment. That's what would have been required if it was tidal. In addition, we're going to, since there's no model in this, on this specific site, we're doing basically what they call the cup-for-cup mitigation. So if there is an ounce of fill going onto this site, we're providing an ounce of depression or cutout to compensate for that. And that's strictly and solely because there is no hydrodynamic model that can be used. Both county models terminate either on the west side of the river or on the south side of the bridge. And as an example, the subdivision on the south side, I think it's called Marshall's Landing. There, since the model is incorporated on that side of the bridge, when they did that project originally, they could stick it in the model and they provided floodplain compensation. So we're mimicking what they did except on the north side where there is no modeling that can be done specifically on the site. So we're mitigating every square foot, every cubic yard, whatever it may be, of compensation for what we have to fill on that peninsula, so to speak.
What's the FEMA floodplain?
I believe it's elevation 7 in that area.
Okay, I have it as a FEMA 1% floodplain, and it's a high risk of flooding with a 1% annual chance of experience a flood event that has a 1 in 100-year probability. It's also known as a special flood hazard area.
Yeah.
SFA. You already know that.
Yes.
Okay, and the last time it flooded was?
I don't have any records on that
Last year.
information.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions for the applicant? Then we will bring up staff.
Okay. Alicia Henry here for staff, and I have been sworn, so I'm here to present for the point. Okay, so the request is to build a 3-story, 36 multifamily unit building over parking on the northern portion of the subject site. The southern portion will have a 4-story, 100,000 square foot mini warehouse building. So I'm going to give you a little bit of history here. So since the adoption of the comprehensive plan, the future land use category has been Res 3 and ROR. And since the adoption of the Land Development Code, the zoning district has been A1 and has been rezoned to PDMU. So this is the location of the site, which is generally located approximately 0.51 miles west of the intersection of State Road 70 East and 63rd Street East in Bradenton. And here is the image of the preliminary site plan, which shows there is one access onto State Road 70. The site is of 9.09 acres, proposing a 3-story multifamily residential use of 36 dwelling units over parking, proposing a 4-story mini warehouse of 100,000 square feet, and a 30-foot wetland buffer. And as you can see, it is delineated there where the northern portion will have the 36-unit residential use with that in blue, and on the southern portion there in red is the mini warehouse. And here we have the existing future land use category, again, which is on the northern portion is Res 3, and on the southern portion is ROR. The zoning district currently is PDMU, and for the surrounding zoning, which is to the north is A1, to the west we have ROS, which is Recreation Open Space, A1, GC, to the east is PDRV, to the south is PDMU. And the surrounding uses for the north is vacant, to the west is recreation and a daycare facility. To the east we have an RV park, and to the south we have a single-family detached dwelling. So here we're going to talk about the transportation link capacity analysis. So below we have the chart that shows the adopted level of service and the future level of service for the nearest thoroughfares, and the adopted level of service is D, and the future level of service with the project implemented will be D, with a little asterisk there where it's assuming from 6 lanes, if it was to be increased from 6 lanes to 8 lanes, it will be a level of service of D. Here's a little bit more information about the transportation link capacity. The applicant prepared a traffic study to determine the impact to the segment of State Road 70 adjacent to the project site. The result of the traffic study indicated the impacted roadway segments are operating below the adopted level of service. It would be expected to operate at or above the level of service performance standards if State Road 70 were to be expanded to 8 lanes. This expansion would go against the Comprehensive Plan Table 5-1 and Map Series 5, Map C and D. After the Planning Commission, the applicant submitted a multimodal analysis to substantiate the reduction of one ingress and one egress vehicular trip. The new proposed trip generation will be lower than the threshold of 50 p.m. peak hour trips, and consequently, the impact on the roadway network can now be considered negligible, therefore allowing the applicant to request a traffic study waiver. The new multimodal analysis allow for this project to now be consistent with the comprehensive plan. So for our positive aspects, the site has appropriate open space, parking setbacks, screening, and buffers that will ensure compatibility to the surrounding area. There are no wetland impacts proposed with this project. No state or federal listed species were observed on site. The site design provides a 30-foot wetland buffer exceeding the required 25-foot average, 15-foot minimum. The section of State Road 70 included in the study area has existing sidewalks and bicycle lanes on both sides of the road. And for our negative aspect, the neighborhood meeting workshop was not held prior to the Planning Commission. Project is located in the 1% annual chance flood hazard per FEMA firm floodway. Floodplains compensation will require any existing native vegetation to be removed. For our mitigating measures, if improvements to public infrastructures are required, then the applicant will be required to construct or pay its proportionate share for such improvements. Also, applicant shall be required to provide a hurricane evacuation plan for this project site at time of final site plan. Staff does conclude the request can be found to be unfortunately didn't change my last slide, but it's now consistent with the comprehensive plan since they have introduced the multimodal analysis. Any questions?
So your original slide said not compatible. You're saying they provided an analysis about multimodal, and that changed the entire dynamic of whether or not it's consistent?
Right. So the threshold for them to request for a traffic study waiver, it's 50. So you have to be 50 and under in order for you to have for the staff to analyze this justification for the traffic study waiver. Their traffic impact statement that they initially provided, it was 51 trips. So they were one trip over the 50 trips that would allow them to request a waiver. So with the new multimodal analysis that was provided to staff, they were able to reduce the trips, so therefore requesting a waiver. Initially, they were not in compliance with the comprehensive. It went against the comprehensive plan, which was Table 5.1, which says the level of service for D is only allowed to have 6 lanes, but they were asking for an additional 2 lanes, making it 8 lanes. But with the multimodal study, it showed that they can reduce these lanes, so therefore now it is consistent with Table 5-1 of the comprehensive plan.
So that was the one deviation?
Yes.
Okay.
They were one trip over the required amount for them to request a waiver.
All right, this is currently zoned. This isn't one of those, like, this is ag and we're trying to do something. It's zoned PDMU. What could they build right now are we just literally approving the site plan and the actual plan associated with this? There's no rezone associated with this.
That's correct. There is no rezone that is associated with this. The rezone, it was actually rezoned to PDMU in the past. So.
Is it still active?
Yes, it is still active. Right now, it is PDMU, and the future land use category is Res 3RR. This is a mixed-use development that they're bringing forward to us. They are going to have a multifamily development with 36 units, which will be above parking to accommodate the fact that they're in the coastal overlay district.
So is it 3 stories above parking or 2 stories above parking, 3
1
stories
story.
total? 1 story above parking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Commissioner McCann, you said you were going to have questions for staff, but I don't have anyone on the board. Did you have any questions? No. Okay.
Okay.
I was going to add some stormwater that I didn't get into her presentation.
Go ahead.
If you look on the screen there, you'll see that this is the FEMA flood map, and the elevation is actually somewhere between 7.4 and 7.8 for the site, and their existing grade of the site ranges from about elevation 6 down to elevation 2. So the entire parcel is within the FEMA 1% flood hazard area. So the entire site that they develop will have to have floodplain compensation.
And this is in a designated coastal area, correct? So do we allow for, this isn't using a mixed-use density bonus or anything like that, right? This is just how it's zoned is two different things that are effectively mixed use, but they're not using a density bonus or anything.
No, they're not using a density bonus.
All right. Commissioner Felch, you're on the board.
I have some questions. I don't know if these would be to staff. We'll try it with staff.
Sorry. I just also like to add to Commissioner Cruz's question. So they are allowed to have a maximum potential of 51 dwelling units, but they are only proposing 36 dwelling units. And with that 51 dwelling units, we had applied the wetland density transfer, which reduces your amount of units because of them being in a area that is prone for flooding. Okay.
You mentioned that there was a neighborhood meeting, but this was held after the Planning Commission meeting.
Right. So I
And
discussed.
the Planning Commission voted how on this?
The Planning Commission recommendation was.
To approve. But it wasn't unanimous because we had a quorum, but there were 3 absent, so unanimous is kind of an
Right.
exaggeration. And then after the Planning Commission, there was a neighborhood meeting.
Yeah, that's correct.
And was that required or suggested? Or volunteer?
At the moment, of course, it is suggested, strongly suggested and encouraged.
So we strongly suggested a neighborhood meeting after the Planning Commission had.
Well, no,
Commissioner,
we
hold on.
actually.
I understand the irony of what I'm doing here by holding you up here, but we're all trying to get answers to you're asking very pointed questions. I
Yes.
would just ask politely if you could allow staff to finish answering
I'm
questions
trying
that
just
you're
to
asking,
rush.
so
I
we
don't
don't
want
have
to
to
take
ask
up
the
too much
questions again
time.
and hear the other half. It's okay, I'm willing to spend the time. It's
Okay.
not even 10 o'clock in the
Oh,
morning.
okay.
Okay.
Well, we'll go slower and I'll speak slower.
I don't need you to speak
No,
slower.
no,
I
I'll
just
be
need her
much
to be able to
slower.
finish her answers.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you.
we kind of already know.
All right.
Okay, so the neighborhood meeting was suggested after the Planning Commission.
Actually, no, staff always, it's our best
Maybe the
practice to.
applicant would be better.
it's-
Would you like
It's
to
our best
speak?
practice to speak to the applicant prior to planning commission and before board to have them put together a neighborhood meeting. So the neighborhood is well-informed as to what
I'm
development is
familiar
going to
with the
go there.
process,
So it
yeah.
is strongly encouraged and suggested to the applicants to have it before planning commission and also the board. It is the applicant's decision as to when they're going to have it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm very familiar with the process.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi,
So,
Dr. Cavoli
so
again.
you voluntarily gave us a neighborhood meeting?
Yes, Alicia.
And we appreciate that, thank you.
Well, Alicia reached out to us and asked. And the reason why it happened after Planning Commission, because we had you know how you have strict guidelines on advertising, et cetera, and so forth?
Strict guidelines on advertising?
Advertising for the neighborhood workshop.
Not really.
Oh, yeah. Well, we do.
Go ahead.
And so we just missed those cutoffs in order to have it prior to
Before the
Planning
Planning
Commission.
Commission.
That's really all that happened, was we
Okay.
missed them.
Now,
So.
I'm assuming that there are some guidelines with neighborhood meetings.
Yes.
And you held this via Zoom, right?
Yes.
And this was based on a list you got from the property appraiser's office of property owners within 500 feet of the property? Was this
Yes, and I
using the
think-
500-foot?
Well, we've had a couple, when we schedule our neighborhood workshops, we have that perimeter. And this goes for City of Northport, City of Venice, everything.
It's pretty much a state
We go further than that because we don't want to
Thank
miss
you.
anybody. Well, we have to because we've gotten into situations.
So on this particular project, did you go further than 500 feet?
I believe we went to 600 feet. I'd
So
have to check
I'd
the
like for
math.
the board to look at item 2. These are the people who were notified by letter that you were holding a neighborhood meeting via Zoom.
Yes,
And there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 20. You had how many people attend the Zoom meeting?
I believe, and I can't remember the notes exactly. I think there were
According
2
to
or
these
3.
documents, it was 1.
1, okay. It was very few.
It
Yeah,
was 1.
yeah.
Also, if you'll look, again, I'd like for the board to look at the information too. Some of the people who were notified were the Braden River Cemetery. So you do have a cemetery within,
Yes,
and
we
this
do.
is within 500 feet.
Yes,
The Girl Scouts of Gulf Coast, Florida, which I believe has a recreational area.
yes.
Again, within 500 feet. Florida State Department of Transportation, I guess we don't really expect them to show up at neighborhood meetings, but they
Correct.
get the notice out of courtesy. Manatee County,
Yes.
do we have any representatives? We don't have any representatives from the county that go to neighborhood meetings. I don't know if we're allowed to. Someone in Southfield, Michigan, again, to clarify, these are property owners.
Correct.
Not necessarily residents.
Correct.
But property owners within 500 feet. And we had some substantial, again, the Girl Scouts, the state, the county, those are your neighbors there. This is a property that you have agreed that it is a 9-acre property, which currently consists of about half of that being wetlands.
Correct.
But your proposition is to mitigate those wetlands, to create
No.
basically man-made wetlands.
No, we are not impacting any wetlands whatsoever. So the 4.41 acres of wetlands are staying exactly the way they are. What we're proposing is the wetland buffers that Manatee County requires are going to provide some of the floodplain comp. And we're going in excess of the county standard, which is 15-foot minimum, 25-foot average. We're going 30 foot all around the wetlands. And that's the area where we're changing the grades, so to speak, or the dynamics.
You're creating a wetland buffer.
Creating a wetland buffer and the floodplain compensation. So we're not touching one wetland at all,
Except with the man-made wetland buffer.
except for the wetland buffer that we are proposing, yes.
Let me see if I have any other questions. Is the storage unit that is going on the property 100,000 square foot? That's the storage unit is 4 stories and the apartment building is 3?
Yes,
And is the storage unit for the exclusive use of the residents of the
No.
apartments? Or so it'll have
just
traffic
general,
in
yeah,
addition
general
to-
public storage, yes.
Okay. And I am curious as to the conditions of the property during our hurricanes last year.
Well,
there
as
from
Commissioner
staff that-
said, it went underwater. I mean,
Well,
I'm
it
not
is in the middle of the
surprised.
river.
Yeah, I'm not surprised it did go underwater.
No, me neither.
And the elevations that Denise stated are exactly that. It's about 6.0 up by the state road. The 2.0 is down in the wetlands. So it steps down as it goes toward the wetlands. We're not going into them, like I said. So we're basically adding a foot of fill on the upland portion of the site to take the 6.0s out of the floodplain.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for staff? Seeing none, I will open this up to public comment. I have one person signed up. Marianne?
Well, good morning, Commissioners. How are you? This is probably one of the fastest hearings I think I've ever seen. I will. My name is Mary Ann Servian. I have been sworn. I am the CEO of Girl Scouts of Gulf Coast, Florida. It's so nice to see you all this morning, and it's so nice to see you again, Ms. Attorney. How are you? For the record, I don't know if it matters, but I'd like to have corrected the minutes of the Planning Board meeting to reflect the correct spelling of my name, as well as the organization. I represent Girl Scouts of Gulf Coast, Florida, not Southeast Florida. Our property is 130 acres. It is gated. It has been there in part or parcel for 72 years. 123 acres came to us in the 1950s, and another 30 acres, can you get that map up there that I can show you? Another 30 acres came to us in the early 2000s. We are located, not that one, the one that you had, the very last one. Sorry. It'll help you understand exactly where we are. Keep going.
Are you talking about the flood map? Because the flood map was in a different presentation.
The flood map, that's the one that I think better illustrates where we're located.
There you go.
That one, if you can blow that one up. So if you see Gap Creek coming out here, our property is immediately north of that. The brown area had been the former Judge Garsht property. It's now all in conservation, but everything you see in green, including all of those buildings, all are Girl Scout property, including those little islands that you see out in the river. That's called Okeelanta. It actually has 3 different geological areas on that site, which is pretty cool. So I attended the planning board meeting, and of course, as you know, the neighborhood workshop was held after the planning board approval with only 4 members in attendance. I attempted to sign in, but I received an invalid meeting ID error. I have a copy of it on my phone if you need to see that. So I was unable to attend that neighborhood meeting. In your packet on page 5, there is a list of surrounding uses and zoning. To the north and east is a vacant designation and county-owned recreation open space. That open space is Girl Scouts. Everything surrounding this is either open space or single family. I also would like to explain that our camp has an average of 10,000 users a year. It is far from vacant property. The vast majority of our girls are between the ages of 5 and 18 that use this camp. And of those 10,000 users, approximately 4,000 are in the water learning kayak and canoeing skills. The property has been safe for our girls for many years, and it's my job to make sure that it stays that way. I have several issues of concern. In the background discussion that you received on this item, it is very clear that this site plan is in the coastal high hazard area, the coast evacuation area, and the coastal planning area. My first question is, why would this be allowed to go forward for residential development, knowing residents are going to be put in harm's way? The developer must provide a hurricane evacuation plan that's approved by the county to the people who live there. In the proposed ordinance, you actually are recognizing this harm by further requiring notice to buyers that are purchasing or renting that they're in a flood-prone area and that the site is partially within the coastal high hazard area, the coastal evacuation area, and the coastal planning area. And as I said, the residents will also be provided with an evacuation plan. In the event of such an emergency, our property, being less than 500 feet downstream from this property, will be subject to all impacts coming from this property, be it debris or whatever should wash down from there. Our property routinely suffers from flooding. During Hurricane Debbie, within the first 2 hours, we had 4.5 feet of water, 25 feet from the river. Is my time up? Yikers.
I'll give you another like 30 seconds. So we're
Okay,
dealing
thank
with the
you. I'll
map.
quickly get to the end of what I wanted to say. We had someone from your flood management office come out and review our property after the tragedy out in Texas, and they were the ones that let us know this area has not been studied. I would just ask that if you move forward with this, that your ordinance be amended to limit the height to 2 stories. Currently, it's 3 stories over parking, so that's 4 stories. And there's no definition of what a story is. I would also ask that we could make sure there's no registered sex offenders on this property. They are directly across from a public park and the Girl Scout camp, and that there's no direct water access now or in the future by kayak, canoe, or other vessels. I don't believe that this is compatible with the neighborhood, and I hope that you would not approve this. Thank you so much for your time and my
Thank you.
extra time. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comments? Seeing none, I will close public comments. Any questions before I bring up the applicant and staff for final comments? All right, applicant, you have any rebuttal?
Just a couple of points to reiterate. This is an infill site. It's kind of like the last site you talked about, Commissioner. We've mitigated every parameter in our proposed design. We're not asking for a rezone. We are less intense than what the county says we can build on it. We're actually improving environmental conditions by promoting more wetlands on the site rather than leaving the existing as is. We'll be required to submit a maintenance plan for the wetlands, and most likely, I'm not sure, do we have to put them in a conservation area easement? Probably have to put them in a conservation easement, so they'll be kept nice and clean in perpetuity. In addition, like I said, we're mitigating everything. The infrastructure is there to handle this development, and it is currently zoned for this, so we would ask your approval. Thanks.
All right. Literally no one on the board. We're up to deliberation. Anyone want to say anything, make a motion, do anything?
I want to make a motion to deny.
I have a motion for denial by Commissioner McCann, seconded by Commissioner Feltz. And I got Commissioner Feltz on the board.
There's supposed to be dates at the end of the motion to deny.
What?
I know, I hate those
Maybe take
dates.
that part off, just from what's in the agenda packet.
The attorney.
Yes, Mr. Chair, the last part of the motion would say, and direct the county attorney's office along with staff to prepare written findings for denial and bring back to the Board of County Commissioners at the October 9th, 2025 land use meeting.
Commissioner Feltz, you're on the board.
I would defer to the Commissioner for this district for the last word, so if you would follow up on that. This is a very ambitious project, and I totally get your presentation. I really wouldn't consider this infill. It's basically in the middle of an area that is a flood zone. It's in the middle of where the water comes in. I am concerned as far as I appreciate you having a neighborhood meeting, but as you could see, the participation was very low. And one of the reasons that I'm a very big proponent of those neighborhood meetings is so that you don't have to face this, that you know who your neighbors are and what flies and what doesn't fly. You're not asking for a rezone because you already got a rezone from a former board. We've talked about this area, and I just feel I would not discourage you from having something there. I like the idea of having the parking below the elevated homes, the parking below those homes, making a good use of that footprint, having a storage unit on the property. This is something else that I would encourage. But I think what you're going for the density on this 10 acres, okay, I live on 10 acres. I have probably 5 acres of wetlands in some way, shape, or form on those acres. And, you know, as the poem says, only God can make a tree. I'm not confident at this time on man-made wetland buffers. We have such a delicacy in that area there in terms of the environment, in terms of the flooding. Some places are mostly suitable for recreations. And I would like to see maybe something with a little less density. I would never discourage your right to develop a piece of property that you own, but I'm very uncomfortable with no, I'm not, with the floodplain. I'm uncomfortable with the density. I'm uncomfortable with access for your storage unit, if it was storage units for your people who live there, where we aren't increasing that traffic. So I hope you do get a chance to go back to the drawing board and think about what would be a compatible use of the area, because I think it could have some outstanding qualities. I would hate to have to say you can't enjoy being on the water because we have a Girl Scout camp down the way that, you know, deserves a little bit of acknowledgement. We don't have a lot of those type of facilities for our kids that they're willing to take on a rough terrain as far as it getting flooded, but that's not what people want or need to live in. So I'm going to have to urge us to not say no, but let's say, why don't we come back with something that's a little bit more compatible with the area, that doesn't need man-made engineering, because you're not going to, it's, like I said, I don't have a lot of confidence in that ability. As we've seen, it's failed us before, but I do appreciate that effort. I appreciate you having the neighborhood meeting. I appreciate you working with our buffer zones, but I'd like for you to come up with a less dense project. Thank you.
All right, I'm on. Yeah, here's the thing with this. You have the zoning, but my first question I had to ask myself, and it's not really a relevant question, but it's still one I ask myself in my head, is would you get the zoning if you came in here today? If this was zoned ag and you came in and asked for the zoning, would this board give it to you today? Or are we kind of at the mercy of our previous zoning? We're at the mercy of previous zoning. You wouldn't get the zoning today. So then the question is, what can you do with the zoning? And there's not a ton of flexibility, but there's some flexibility up here. Look, this is a property in the middle of a river that flooded last year. It's fresh in everyone's mind. We're in the middle of new storm season. You couldn't have picked a worse time to come in here with this. And to say we're not building the maximum, you're not building the maximum because you can't fit the maximum. Let's be honest. You're not like, I don't want those other 14 units. No, you can't. You couldn't possibly cram 14 more units on here. You're putting this, you're shoehorning this in as best as humanly possible. And I appreciate the thoughts of the, I don't think you used the term, but, you know, enhanced buffers. But, you know, at the end of the day, we're taking 30-foot buffers in a place where, look, this is in the middle of a river. If there was any property that needed to go above and beyond the bare state minimum. It's properties like this that just flooded a year ago. I mean, you have a responsibility of the people who are gonna be storing stuff in the storage unit. You have a responsibility of people living in here, and I understand you're putting parking on the ground floor, but that doesn't help people who get stuck there. You may not have, your couch may not be wet, but you're just gonna be stranded on the third floor of a peninsula because you can't get out because it got flooded, the access points got flooded out. I just think this is, I do, as Commissioner Felt said, I do think this is a unique parcel. I think there's a usability to it. We've had other parcels where we're like, don't put anything there, a la triangle piece. If I could, I know it's still there. Nothing's on it because that was a terrible piece to put anything on. But this, then that's a different story. Then I'll approve something there. Yeah, I think this is unique. I think the residential piece is unique. I think they could be highly profitable as a residential piece. I think 30-something, 40-something, 51 residential units, thoughtfully placed with excess buffers to compensate for the river and potential inevitable flooding. I think those could sell and rent extremely well in this place. I'm not as concerned about the traffic. I don't agree that the multimodal bikes do anything. I mean, saying you're gonna put bike racks there and convince people not to use their cars, like saying I put lettuce in your fridge and convince your kids to be vegetarian. Like, nobody's riding their bike down a 6-lane State Road 70. That's not true. But I don't care about the traffic. I'm concerned about the parcel relative to the river and what you're trying to shoehorn into it. I think if you just came back with the residential, even the fullest amount of it, and it was done with excess buffers and done in a thoughtful way where it can be comfortably done, where we're not concerned about the flooding, then I think I'd be on board with it, because you do deserve to be able to do something based on your zoning. I'm just not going to approve this particular thing just because of what you're trying to cram in and when you're trying to cram it in. No one's on the board? I have a motion to deny by Commissioner McCann, seconded by Commissioner Feltz. You can cast your vote now. The vote is for denial. And it is denied unanimously.
I'm a yes.
5-0.
On the denial.
Were you on for the entirety of the conversation?
I caught it on YouTube and switched on when I had the time to get on Zoom.
Okay. You need to chime in and let us know you're on. More timely there. Okay. That is denied 6-0 with Commissioner Ballard absent. Moving on to item number 10. This is a presentation upon request for lot splitting.
Item number 10, LDCT 2505, ordinance 25-31. It's a county-initiated land development code text amendment. It's in Chapter 3 in a general cleanup. We have Elizabeth Schulman here for staff. It's amending the Manatee County Land Development Code, providing for purpose and intent, providing findings, amending Chapter 3, review authority and procedures, Section 330, general requirements, subsection 330.2, subdivision approval required, editing and clarifying standards in this subsection related to subdivisions and lot splits.
It's a presentation upon request. My only comment on this is that I think we need to make lot splitting easier. I don't even like where this is going. I mean, look, we've had just today, we had someone wanting to like split a 1.6 acre lot so their daughter could build something. We made them jump through a year's worth of hoops. We had the same thing with some parcel last year up by, where was it, in Parrish, where someone wanted to do the same thing. And that was like a 4-acre parcel. And they just wanted, but we made them go from A to A1 just to split it so that like their son could build a house. This lot splitting thing is getting out of hand. This is so cost prohibitive that people are not splitting lots to build homes that we need them to build predominantly for, they're effectively glorified ADUs, but for relatives most of the time. I'm fine with this as you're proposing. I don't think I don't need a presentation because I don't think it's meaningful. That's not to say, I see, well, that doesn't mean other people don't. I don't speak for everyone. I'm fine with what you're proposing. I'd like to have you come back again with something a little more flexible. I think lot splitting is a complete, I think we should have a lot more flexibility with the lot splitting. I think we should have more flexibility with lot sizing, but Rachel knows that all too well that I can't stand our minimum lot sizes. But lot splitting is an easy fix to allow people to start building things that have no impact. That's why I make the argument about significantly smaller lot sizes. Someone comes to us and wants to build 400 units in one complex to get us affordable housing or housing units. It's going to destroy a road. It's going to destroy a school. Someone wants to build one house next to their other house on Ellington Gillette. That's not affecting anybody's life anywhere, but we're getting a housing unit out of it, and someone gets to live there. I think we should be encouraging that, and I think by allowing lot splits administratively much quicker will allow for these one-off houses that don't have any impact on LOS, don't have any impact on school capacity, don't have any impact on anything, but we get housing units, and I'd rather see them scattered everywhere than have them clumped in 100, 200, 500 unit apartment complexes. So I'm fine with this. I will make, well, I can't make the motion, but I will encourage someone to make. Motion to approve by Commissioner McCann. Second by Commissioner Ron. I'll open this up to public comment. Seeing none, no one's on the phone, I will close public comment, but I would encourage, I would like to see somebody come back with an even more flexible lot split options for Manatee County. Nobody's on the board, and I've said my piece. You can vote now. It's a motion by Commissioner McCann, second by Commissioner Ron, in case you missed that down there.
I'm a yes.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
just at the appropriate time, before we lose Commissioner Siddiq, I just need to ask him a question.
Okay, hold on, let me
We're
finish
done with
this.
the vote.
That is approved 6-0 with Commissioner Ballard absent. Is that the last?
Did you ask for public comment?
I did.
On the phone? Because this is.
Yeah, nobody had their hand up.
All right.
This says there's a commissioner agenda item on the back. Is that a thing?
No.
It's not on my white paper. It's only on this green thing, number 16. Residential Treatment Facility and Recovery Home Certification Program. Oh, it didn't get deleted. Okay, I was going to say, because I wasn't briefed on that. I've never seen that before. Okay. Okay. Sarah, go
Oh,
ahead.
yeah, Commissioner Siddiq, excuse
Ex
me
parte,
for
right?
regressing a minute. So on the point, item 9, can you just say for the record that you attended by Zoom the entire public hearing on that matter?
No, not the entire meeting.
That's why I
Well,
asked.
can you clarify, did you hear all the testimony? I'm not sure if you can vote if you haven't watched the whole meeting. That's why I'm trying to
That's why I asked.
fact find a little bit.
I did watch the entire meeting. I joined the Zoom a little bit later, but I was watching the live stream through other channels.
Okay, and,
And I have no ex parte to disclose.
okay,
FYI.
that's the other question. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to reopen public comment because I do have somebody with their hand up. Caller 750. That's Mark.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mark Vanderie, Waterline Road, Manatee County. I am calling in this morning to ask your help on a situation we have out here on Dam Road out by Lake Manatee. As you may be aware, there's a lot of construction going on out there with burying some pretty large water pipes. They're maybe 3-4 foot diameter size pipes, really big ones. And of course, when they do that, they have to dewater the soil so that they can excavate and do the work that they need to do without mucking around in a bunch of mud. Unfortunately, there are reciprocating pumps out there right across from residential areas, from houses, and across the street from a couple of farms and ranches. I went out there with a sound pressure level meter and took readings, and I'm reading in excess of 81, 82 decibels on the C scale on the properties across the street from where these pumps are. So that's probably maybe a good 40 feet away. The sound ordinance, the noise ordinance in the county requires that they not be any louder than 60 decibels. And this noise is going around the clock, 24 hours a day. That 81 decibel reading is 1,000 times over the allowable maximum sound. And it's very disruptive, just not to the people, but to the animals out there. It's a problem. It's been going on for a while. We probably should have said something sooner. I have submitted a 311 code violation request, but I'm hoping maybe someone that's listening there can do something about this immediately, like today, so we don't have another night of disruption. My recommendation is to go ahead and put a sound attenuation enclosure on these pumps, like the other pumps along the way have, and that would knock it down, or to put a better pump out there, a higher quality pump that is below the maximum that the noise ordinance requires. Just a little background: these pipes are going in. They're east of the FDAB. These are pipes that are essentially being put in to feed Taylor Ranch and East River Ranch that's been approved a couple of years ago. Development east of the FDAB. These are supposed to be developments that were contiguous and continuous with already existing infrastructure, but I guess they were not, because you're putting in some big 4-foot diameter pipes out there to feed these new developments. So,
All right, Mark,
surprise.
Mark,
Thank
if
you
you want
very much.
Mark, if
Yes.
you want to send us an email with specifics about location, we'll get staff right on that, and I'll make sure your district commissioner follows up.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I do have a lot of detail on the 311 submittal for the code violation, so you can get it from there. I'll follow up with the email directly as well. Thank you very much.
All right, yeah, it'll be faster if you send it straight to us instead of us digging through 311. We can get staff on it right away. All right. Any other public comments? Anyone out of the public? Nope. All right, I will close future agenda item public comment. Commissioner Seek, your hand is raised.
Just for commissioner comment.
Okay, well then go ahead. You're first.
Perfect. So this kind of dovetails off of your comment, Mr. Chair, about the lot split land development code updates. Back in January, we all had discussions about things we wanted to see implemented within the land development code. 3 things stood out. I'll say 4. Eliminating minimum lot sizes, making it easier to do lot splits, eliminating minimum parking ratios. Actually, I think those are the 3 ones. In my view, it's just me talking, there is no way that can be seen as more restrictive and burdensome. So I suppose my question to this board, perhaps to staff after, is why haven't those come before us as a board, much like this land development text code amendment today? I mean, those are good policies I think we can implement sooner rather than waiting a year. Just my 2 cents.
Rachel, is there an update on any progress made on those or thoughts about anticipation?
For the flexibility of lot splits, that came up today for the first time, for me anyway. But we will
I
start
think
working
those
on
have
that
been
today.
mentioned a little bit more informally. I think I complained about it when we refunded money to some guy one time.
Yes.
The other 2 I've mentioned.
Yes, the minimum
Once a
lot
month for
sizes.
4 years.
Yes, and we are working on that. We should have something to the board in the next few months.
Okay.
And what was the third
Copy
item?
that.
I'm sorry, I was busy scribbling
It was 2. It
notes.
was the parking, the lot sizes, and the lot splits.
Perfect. Thank you. Think we can knock this out sooner. It's good policy. I'd love to see those implemented sooner. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any, let's go down the list. Commissioner Feltz?
Regarding the Dam Road, Waterline Road issues, as the current commissioner of that area, I am obviously more than familiar with some of the issues there. And as Commissioner Cruz mentioned, sometimes we are at the mercy of the former board's decisions on some things. I'd like to say we've made some progress here, but these are very aware citizens in that area because of what they've been through. We recently had a meeting regarding the EMS station, which is a great thing to have down there. And it was actually put on by property management. We didn't really have a robust way of letting people know the meeting was there, but we had a pretty good turnout. And their problem was not with the EMS. It was just the general issues that we are having in that area that have gone unanswered since its conception. So thank God for the people on the ground that are keeping an eye on all things that go there, but we haven't resolved the issues. We had a really great site visit with Evelyn Pilinchowski, who is now gone, with Tom Gerstenberger, who, is he still out on?
I got an email from him today, so I think he might be back.
Hopefully. And it was like playing whack-a-mole out there with the issues that have been reported for the last 4 years, and that we're just getting around to being a little bit more serious about paying attention to them. So I'm aware we need to do better in our response. These are this area has been, I always told him, when you've defined the problem and helped us to find a solution to it, let us know, because anything else is just whining. So we have identified problems. We solved a problem together with 2 connecting subdivisions over there that had shut off the reclaimed water to the connecting subdivision. How does that go on for a year? And how does that take actually taking staff to the site and letting them stand there and see how what was engineered is either not working or was not built as designed? So I would like not just myself, but commissioners, we all get emails from all citizens, and I would like for you to pass those on with as much fervency as I do to staff, because they are paying attention and we are trying to solve these problems. And it's actually a team that's working on these things. It's not a blame game. We're there to solve the problem. The developers have worked with us. The previous engineers have worked with us. So it takes kind of an all eyes on things to get those things done. I appreciate what Commissioner Sadiq and Commissioner Cruz are advocating as far as our lot splits, eliminating the minimum lot sizes. Nobody's, there are things we all have to focus on instead of running away and hiding about anything just because we've got a couple lawsuits going on, is we still could focus on the things that we can do that are a benefit to all of us, really focusing on those things. Again, I've also brought this up again. This is another problem with our neighborhood meetings. The 500-foot, but we really need to define this. I know we're going to have a meeting on September 8th to talk a little bit more about this, but we're close, but no banana, okay? We're really close. But you can't expect to send a letter out to a cemetery and have people show up for a Zoom meeting, okay? And the other problem is that and actually in that example that I gave you, and it was really a great example of an effort being made, but close. So we had one person that participated in the Zoom meeting, according to their summary, and that wasn't even somebody that was on the 500-foot list to get a letter to invite him to the meeting. So the good news is maybe he saw a sign on the side of the road. But I want the board and I want the staff to kind of look at that as an example of the things that I'm trying to explain and improve, so we don't have any particular burdens over anyone, and we do it right and we do it fair. And maybe we don't have too many, maybe you don't understand this in a district that hasn't seen as much growth as District 1 and as exponential growth as District 5. But it's a real and a decent problem that we need to resolve that's just as important as lot splits and minimum lot sizes, is improving our communication so we make it a fairer process for both the applicants and the citizens. Thank you.
Commissioner Ron, do you have any comments?
In the interest of time, no, sir, I have none.
Thank you. Commissioner Bearden. Commissioner McCann. Sarah, Denise, anything? Rachel, you got anything? Yeah, I know. Nope, and I've got nothing. Have a great weekend. Charlie, am I supposed to wait on something for your fancy little intro? No? All right. Who? Oh, I see it. I see it.